I had to make a temporary setup down here because we've got the Hoth mock going on upstairs in my usual spot, so we're using a folding table for this episode. It feels pretty janky to me, but you know, it's gonna work, and now it's probably not even straight on your screen, so what are you gonna do about it? Anyway, our first question comes from Fritz, and he wants to know what I think of the new LEGO Dreams theme. Generally, I'm not all that interested in it. It's clearly very much geared towards young children and creativity, which is something that I am not checking the box really for either. But, you know, as far as a unique LEGO theme for something that's not necessarily what I'm looking for, it does look pretty cool to kind of draw it into the realm of LEGO Star Wars, which I think is what most people here probably care the most about. It does look like waist capes are back with this theme. There is no longer a defense for LEGO Star Wars not having waist capes. You can't say that kids with LEGO Star Wars figures wouldn't be able to sit them down when in these sets for clearly 8, 9, 10, 12-year-olds, whatever, they have waist capes. So why can't an adult LEGO Star Wars set have waist capes? You know, that's what I'm getting at. But yeah, the theme itself looks really cool. I'm really excited for it to come out and people to enjoy it. But, you know, at the end of the day, I won't be making any content on it. I'm not going to be buying any of the sets. To me, like, Hidden Side was the cool original theme that LEGO has done this decade that I really liked. Unfortunately, it didn't last that long. I really liked the school bus with the porta potty monster that flung poo at people. That was cool. But Dreams, I don't know. Yeah, probably not going to be picking any of these up, but for people that are looking for original LEGO themes, this is a pretty good one this year. Daniel says, what are some original trilogy scenes or ships that are really overdue for a remake or brand new set? So there's a couple things that I really want to see from LEGO Star Wars in the next couple years from the original trilogy. First off, a B-Wing. I feel like the B-Wing should have been released this year. It would have fit nicely for Return of the Jedi. But a B-Wing at some point in the relative near future would be nice. I think it'd be really cool to see a new take on that. And I also really want to see, so this year they're doing Yavin 4 kind of the way that I've really wanted to see them do this. I want to see them do Hoth for like $160. I think that should have happened like 2 years ago, really. But at some point, again, in the next couple years, Hoth at the $160 playset price is probably my dream set right now. I don't know, maybe that's too far to go, but like conceptually, I think it would absolutely kill it. You'd get the whole Hoth like hangar door, you would get a snow speeder, maybe, I don't know, it's hard to figure out what else would be included for $160. It's not like you build a really, maybe you build more of the base on, kind of like they did with the UCS Hoth. Maybe you include the shield generator or part of the Wampa Cave. Basically a scaled down UCS Hoth and a scaled up version of what we saw in 2007 of the Hoth Echo Base. I'm looking for something in between is my point. So I think those two sets from the original trilogy is what I'm really looking for alongside the UCS Jabba Sail Barge that we know is coming at some point probably next year, and a UCS Death Star I think is very, very, very needed, or a scaled down Death Star. But yeah, those are my original trilogy like top 4 like wants right now. Also UCS Slave 1 and UCS Darth Vader's TIE Advance, those as well. So there's 6. Executor66 says, I'm really curious about the older TIE LEGO models. Like, how did the designers get the idea of using blue pieces on them when the actual models are made up of gray and black mostly? Technically, in the movies, they're in like a sand blue color. So sand blue didn't really exist when LEGO started making TIE fighters, I think, in the early 2000s, or really 1999. So they used just blue. But as the LEGO gray color, I think, got much nicer looking, I think at some point they just decided light gray looks better aesthetically and is a little bit closer than just this normal blue that they were using to the way TIE fighters look on screen, of course. And so they moved away from that into the light gray that they use now, and they really haven't strayed away from that. Sand blue, technically, I guess you could make the argument for working, but I think light gray is the right color. It's the color most people associate with TIE fighters, TIE interceptors, TIE bombers, whatever. And LEGO is pretty entrenched in that color scheme for their TIE fighter lineup at this point, so I don't see that changing. But yeah, it wasn't completely unreasonable in the early 2000s to be using blue. It's just that I think when they got their nicer gray color, it made all the sense in the world to use that nicer gray color. Johnny says, thoughts on the new Harry Potter sets, and more importantly, the ability to combine all Hogwarts sets over the last few years. So the combination of the Hogwarts sets actually looks shockingly great. There have been some duds out of this newer Hogwarts combo line in my eyes. Like some of the, like I think Fluffy's Encounter, I looked at it, I just, oh boy, that set looks ugly. But when you put them all together, it looks rather epic, and it kind of makes me want to get them all together and then compare them to the micro scale Hogwarts UCS set, or not UCS, but you know, Harry Potter UCS. So maybe, probably not gonna happen, but like I thought that would be kind of cool. It looks really neat to me as a combination of sets. I think the other thing's called like a stag or something. It's basically the blue reindeer. Don't care about that at all. I used to be really into LEGO Harry Potter. I wanted to collect every set, and basically once they started doing the books is when I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing it. These are lame. These are awful. And I don't care about LEGO Harry Potter as much as I do about Star Wars, so it's easier for me to let go of wanting everything. But the one thing that really confuses me about this Harry Potter summer lineup is the Hogwarts Express. Really cool. They made another one. Can you believe it? However, they made the train car roofs light gray. This is like a LEGO Star Wars thing that they would totally do with LEGO Star Wars. Look, Harry Potter made the Mega Hogwarts Express, the detailed, accurate Hogwarts Express that came out last year for $500 or whatever. In that set, the top of the train cars is black. You would expect there to be the consistency that if they have decided that in the most detailed, accurate version of this vehicle or ship, or I guess it's a train that they make, it should be black, then when they scale it down, it should also be black. Just like the last one was black on the train cars. Now with this light gray color, they honestly look very much like early 2000s Lego My Train cars to me. It kind of reminds me of the Santa Fe color scheme maybe. There's something there. I'll try to find the picture of what I mentally am thinking of, but it looks so blocky and weird to me with that gray color, and I don't even think it's tiled off on top, so yeah, I think that is the one thing that I think looks bad on that Hogwarts Express set. Everything else about it looks pretty cool, or Hogwarts train station, whatever. But it looks like a pretty decent Harry Potter wave overall for most Harry Potter fans, and as far as I can tell, there's no books, so I'm happy with that. Carson says, what do you think about the website crashes and the Executor being sold out on the first day? Personally, I'm mad because I missed out on that set and the Death Star 2 promo in one fail swoop. So that was the worst the website has ever been for LEGO.com. That May 4th release was an absolute disaster for them. The website was getting just a litany of different error messages for different people, and it was pretty insane to watch. I ended up watching a couple people's live streams. I think I was watching Brick Hive and Stud City. They both had live streams going. It made me wish I was doing a live stream, but I was trying to go to bed to do May 4th in the store the next day, so I couldn't. But maybe next year on a big release, I'll do a live stream on LEGO.com, because it was pretty like crazy watching everything just completely fail. I guess what that live stream would devolve into is me being LEGO's live tech support, but you know, we'll give it a shot maybe the next time there's a big release, August 1st, midnight or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty insane how many website crashes there were. And as far as the Superstar Destroyer being sold out, not a surprise, I suppose. I mean, I thought it was a fantastic model. Looks awesome. Maybe they underproduced it. You know, the thing with something being sold out on LEGO.com will always be how many of them actually sold. Because if they make 5 and sell 5, they sold out, and it looks just as good to you, I suppose, as them making 5,000 and selling 5,000 or 50,000. Sold out was sold out, you know? But either way, it does look like it's a pretty popular set, which bodes well for the future of midi-scale. If this set is selling really well, you know, I definitely think midi-scale is going to be coming back next year, the year after, and hopefully will continue to be a recurring sub-theme in LEGO Star Wars. So, very excited about that, and that was cool to see. But May 4th was crazy this year. The LEGO store I went on a Monday was just as busy it was last year on the weekend, I think. So, that was insane to me. I was like, I figured it was a Monday, maybe it'd be a little bit more chill, but no, it was still just as busy. But yeah, hopefully everyone was able to get what they wanted. Obviously, I guess you didn't, but most people that were up probably got what they wanted, even though they had to wait longer or mess around for 2 hours. Smeagol Play says, if the $25 Swamp Speeder is a battle pack, does it mean they will raise the prices on battle packs the second time in 2 years, with Snowtroopers being the first? So the Swamp Speeder is, for all intents and purposes, a battle pack. It probably won't be called that. In fact, I'm pretty sure it won't be called that. But, you know, it's basically another set where LEGO, much like the 501st Battle Pack, the original one, is taking advantage of its fans. And it's sad to see that they won't just make a $20 clone Battle Pack. I guess they did earlier this year. But, you know, the original 501st Battle Pack being twice as much as normal Battle Packs was absolutely just one of the most shameless, like, money grabs I've seen. Look, as much as I like the set, and I'm very appreciative that it exists, it costing $30 is still insane to me. We really let them get away with that one. But yeah, this is going to be another situation like that. It's not technically a battle pack, but we all, you know, we'll buy it like it is. Callie Brick Hub says, do you think LEGO will ever do a Star Wars minifigure blind bag series? If yes, named or unnamed figures. Nope, they won't do it. Not because they can't do it, in my opinion. I believe that they can. I made a video a couple of years ago, basically debunking through quite a few different things that have happened over the years, why I think LEGO can sell Star Wars minifigures. Perhaps that's not true, but I do believe it based on the evidence that I was able to gather. And the bigger thing to me, I guess, with Star Wars minifigs at this point is like, why don't we have poly bags with Star Wars minifigs like every other theme? If you go to your Target or Walmart, right, you have like the main poly bags of like Minecraft, superheroes with like Doctor Strange or Spider-Man, your Lego City poly bags, your Lego Friends poly bags, your Princess poly bags with like Olaf from whatever. But with Star Wars, you only ever get ships. And it's like, why not a minifigure in the poly bag, you know? Really what got me thinking about this again was the recent Batman one that just leaked, which looks just phenomenal. That's probably my favorite non-LEGO Star Wars poly bag ever. And even like with all the LEGO Star Wars poly bags brought into it, it's probably still a top 10 poly bag ever, you know, if you just throw it in there. It's so cool looking. It's such a great concept. It's got a great Batman figure. Like, why can't we do that for Star Wars and put them in regular retail stores? How crazy of an idea is that? Oh no, you need to buy a $16 mech to get a Darth Vader or a Stormtrooper. You can't buy a $5 poly bag. That would just be too cheap and accessible. You know, it's just, I don't understand it. I think I've proven beyond a doubt to myself, at least, that I believe they can do stuff like that, but they continue to not do it and squeeze us for every penny they can. And rightfully so. That's capitalism. Next question comes from Mate. He says, could I theoretically sue LEGO for fake advertising with the clone helmet holes in the 501st Specialist Battle Pack? I think there's quite a few things there would be a pretty legitimate grounds for something like this with fake advertising in LEGO. You have the helmet holes. I think the worst offender here is that 2/12 helmet print. I think that's a pretty cut and dry case. It's very clearly shown one way and very clearly comes another. And I'm sure there's more examples from over the years I'm not remembering off the top of my head right now. And first off, I don't necessarily think you should do this. I'm not necessarily interested in being a part of it. However, I will say someone won a lawsuit against Red Bull because their tagline was Red Bull gives you wings, and Red Bull doesn't actually give you wings. So the guy won the lawsuit, and I think if you watch like a Red Bull commercial now, it'll say Red Bull gives you wings or something with like multiple eyes, like that's their way around it. So if they won that lawsuit, I'm not a lawyer, not even close to a lawyer, didn't ask a lawyer about this, just using my line of logic here. You know, LEGO selling you a physical product that looks, frankly, in some cases, not much like what it looks like on the box, might fit that description. But yeah, is it worth your time, effort, money, resources? Probably not. I'd rather just make videos talking about it on the internet personally. But you know, I would love to cover that in a YouTube video. It'd be fascinating to watch happen. I just want no part of it. Martin says, hey Ryan, recently on the Pawn Stars show, a guy had a 1-of-1 bronze C-3PO and 1-of-1 white gold R2-D2. An expert valued them at $50,000 and $75,000 respectively. However, the owner wanted $500,000 for the pair and did not sell them. What do you think of the value, and do you see yourself owning these someday? So the guy that owns them is Samuel. His name is Rarest LEGO Minifigures over on Instagram. I know him. I've met him. I might have held that white R2-D2 at a convention once. I don't remember what he brought one year, but it was pretty cool regardless. As far as the expert's valuation, honestly, his guess is as good as mine. And as far, like, I don't really think anything of it necessarily. It's unsurprisingly a lot of money, and it frankly could be worth a lot more money. It's really hard to tell with something that's 1-of-1. Like, you can't really value that without just putting it up at auction, starting the bid at $1, and letting different people duke it out until it eventually sells, because ultimately value is determined by what someone else is willing to pay for it, and unless you can figure out what that is, like, you can't really know other than a shot in the dark, which is what I feel like that $50,000 and $75,000 are. Honestly, if I had $50,000 laying around, I would probably pay it for a 1-of-1 bronze C-3PO. I don't really have that kind of money laying around right now. I do have a mortgage, But, you know, maybe in 5-10 years, if I had 50 grand and it was for sale for 50 grand, I'd love to buy it. Knowing Samuel, he would never sell for 50 grand, I guess, unless he really needed $50,000. You know, I don't know what he paid for them necessarily, but I generally know that when he buys stuff, he buys it and tries to sell it for more money, which is, I mean, can't go broke making a profit, and, you know, don't blame him for that sort of thing. But it does make it really hard for me to probably ever be able to get a hold of something like that. If he wants $500,000 for the pair, so we're talking $250,000 a piece. If Elon Musk is watching this video, if you buy that figure, I will advertise Tesla for an entire year for free. That's my offer. Is that a bad offer? Or if someone else out there just happens to be a multi-millionaire or billionaire and like $200,000 is dropping the bucket to you, man, like hit me up. I'd love to have that on my shelf, and I'll do mostly anything you'd like, within reason. You don't get if you don't ask. That's what I've learned, all right? So you got to try. For a figure like that, what are you gonna do, all right? Look, I'd love to have that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, some of the pricing on it is just, it's above my pay grade. I can't even think what the most I've spent on a single LEGO Star Wars item. Like, I paid $1,900 for this clone box, but it also came with like 100 clone troopers. So when you work it out, like the box really, compared to the value of the clones, I paid maybe $400 for the box, which is more than worth it to me. I'm working on getting the other box, so that might be joining the background soon too. I should really know the answer off the top of my head, but the most expensive item that I paid, like the money I paid for it, this probably isn't worth the most, but I think I paid like $3,000 for this. I don't think I'll have the heart to open the bags, but it's a sealed Yoda Chronicles set from 2013, and it's really cool. So I love having this in the collection, but I don't think I'll ever be able to open it because it would just devalue it too much, and I could just bricklink the build together. So ultimately, that's what I would do when I want to review this. I wouldn't open the actual bags inside. But yeah, every once in a while I can afford to splurge on something like that. Splurging on a $50,000 or $75,000 like, again, that's the expert's value, and I doubt Samuel would even sell them for that. He probably wants much more, obviously, if he even wants to part with them. That's the other thing. Sometimes people that have cool stuff don't want to sell their cool stuff, and that's kind of how I am. You know, I would never sell that Yoda. I'd never sell that clone box. I'll never sell my Toy Fair trophy, like, unless someone offered me $75,000 for the Toy Fair trophy, or a 1-to-1 trade for that C-3PO on eBay. I'd trade that. Like, I'd trade stuff, I guess, but like, there's a lot of stuff I would never want to part with, and I think some other collectors are definitely going to be that way over time. We'll see with LEGO Star Wars. Some of this stuff is going to continue to be really hard to get, and especially when there's only 5 of them. Like, good luck, man. Like, none of us are ever really going to own that. I know I was all over the place with that answer, but, you know, just kind of a little deep dive into how I view the rare LEGO Star Wars market and, like, some of my perspective on it. Not quite as expensive as some of these LEGO Star Wars items I just talked about, but I have a Mr. Gold. A viewer named Matt sent me a Mr. Gold to sell for him on Whatnot. So if you want a Mr. Gold, I'm going to be selling one this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Just a quick thing there, but if you're interested or just want to see how crazy it is to see a Mr. Gold sell on Whatnot, make sure you're there. Final question from Christopher says, why don't you address your viewers at the beginning of your videos with "What's up, studs?" anymore? This was supposed to be at the beginning of the video, but what's up, studs?